Okay. Hey Jeff. There's nobody there. I'm talking to the camera. Wolf yourself. Oh, or is Denny there? You're just reacting because I talked? Nobody's there. We'll go see. As I was saying, this is the hammock, and while it's not perfect, it's probably the best one so far. I find it very comfortable. I hope you do too. Let's see. First things first. The pillow case is also the hammock case, and it is stuffed at the moment with my down vest. And that's what it was designed to. It's attached with a bungee at these corners. When I take the hammock down, I'll turn the pillowcase inside out and stuff the whole hammock into there, leaving no loose ends and just a smooth case. The top is 1.9 Dobby fabric, half polyester, half nylon. Seems to be nice and strong. The bottom is probably a 1.6 nylon, maybe Hexon, one of those BSC sounding names. I didn't try to make this absolutely the lightest hammock I could, but I did a number of things in the shape of it to keep it fairly light. And as a result, it weighs almost exactly 2 pounds, which isn't too bad. The spreader bars I'm using are Mountain Smith trekking poles, and they have pockets built to hold them, including pockets for the top handle that are bigger than most trekking poles would normally take. These can be reduced in size pretty easily by turning them inside out and sewing alongside the edges. You'll see when you take a look. And what you may want to do is adjust them to fit the handle of your trekking pole, if that works. Simply to do that, turn it inside out. And sew next to the yellow strap. Get a little closer. You could pin them first and try them out to see what makes a good size, and then just cut it off with a soldering iron or something afterwards. That way you can turn a pocket that looks like this into one that's quite narrow like this, or a little bit wider, which would fit the handle of a lot of different trekking poles. It's also pretty easy to swap corner segments because each corner is held with a loop of M steel which ends in a lanyard knot. It can be undone with the lark's head there onto the camera, or triangle suspension arms and in soft shackle connections, so they can come off pretty easily. Now, the insulation is down, all down. Sort of a nod to the bag of feathers hammock, except this down is held more in places. I'm calling it a quasi-Caro step because there are baffles attached to the panels of the bottom layer. The bottom layer is my standard, measured with triangles and then enlarged slightly so it mimics the shape of the hammock when I'm in it. First unpacking it is Caro step. The top layer is not sewn to the bottom layer. The baffles on the bottom layer have bungee strips, 1/16 inch bungee going through them that hold it up against the underside of the hammock. So it flexes and it'll maintain that 2-inch distance even if you move around and distribute your weight differently. It also means there's no sewn through portion on the hammock, that bed that supports you. But because it is a quasi-Karo step, the down can move around and does so sometimes in transit when you lift one end or the other. So here's the way I equalize the down. But it makes it a little bit easier to see what's going on. When I lift up on the bottom layer, the baffles come with it. So this is just down in here. And I can scoot some up here, down here, even past the knee ridge, and get it sort of more or less even so it feels about the same all the way. And then when I lower it, and flip it back, I end up with most of the down evenly distributed, but down at the bottom. And you can spread it out like this. I worried about thin insulation up here at the top where gravity would let it fall down. So far it hasn't been a problem, but I haven't had any really cold nights to check it. I've been down to about 55 degrees in this only, and it's intended to go a lot cooler than that. Let me put this spreader bar back in here. At this stage, it's easier to spread it down to the sides somewhat, and then gravity will bring it back down around you when you get in the hammock. The tension on the hammock helps define the shape, and you'll have to experiment some. The other big way of adjusting the feel of the hammock is the length of the spreader bars. Since it's maybe 44, and the foot end similarly can feel very, very different if you shorten it. That lets your feet drop a lot more, and that I find all the foot end positions comfortable. It's just a matter of preference. This one's about 36 inches, I think. One advantage of being able to remove the suspension at all 4 points on each end fairly easily is if my suspension is wet, I don't like to pack it up with the hammock. It also makes it really easy to take all the strings off the hammock and wash it easily. So it's just the bed. Things I would do differently. I thought about putting a layer of synthetic insulation about 6 to 8 inches wide along the sides, a sort of hybrid like the way that Lilo used to make some of her underquilts, with synthetic insulation on the sides and down in the center. And that's still a likely method I'll use in the future, just to see. But as I said, I have been pretty pleased with the fact that, at least feeling it like this, it seems to me I've got adequate insulation for my shoulders. And so I think this is going to be a pretty good hammock. The insulation in this is about 11.5 ounces of down. 6 of them are 800 fill down from Dutch, I think, and the other 5.5 are some that I had saved, and it may be from older projects. It might have come from old Frostline kits. It's probably 750 or a little less. It's not real top quality down, but mixed in with the 800 fill, and it seems to be working pretty well. So give it a shot. I suggest you look into trying your trekking poles and seeing whether you need to adjust the pocket. If so, let me know. There's also a way I can make a supplementary pocket that would fit a different type of handle. I use To protect the ends of the bottoms of the pockets from the tips of the trekking poles, I use the red wire nuts, electrician's wire nuts. Over there. A quick look at the pillowcase and carry that view. Okay, put small dog in pillowcase. No? Okay. I took my down vest out of this. That was my pillow. Because the cords are on the outside. I leave it attached to the hammock and just turn the case inside out. It's got a double zipper so you can zip it from either side. Then it's ready to put the stuff. And it just barely fits.